everybody, welcome to General Hospital MV, my GH After Show. It is 2019, my friends, and that means we're here to talk about the same stories that have been going on since 2018. Let's get into it. First up, Dr. Obrecht versus Valentine Cassadine. Alright, so Valentine and Nina are having breakfast at Charlie's Pub, and Maxie is also having breakfast at Charlie's Pub. She is surprised to see Nina and Valentine all lovey-dovey gushy together, but Nina is surprised to see Dr. Obrecht walk in to have breakfast with Maxie. She didn't even know that she was back in town, let alone exonerated for her crimes. But yeah, Nina and Maxie go to the washroom to change baby James, and Obrecht has her moment with Valentine. She thanks him for convincing Peter to get her out of jail, and he's just like not having it. He's like, maybe you'd be better off out of Port Charles, you know? And she's like, ha, no, I'm staying. This is why I love Dr. Obrecht. She knows the kind of man that Valentine is, and she's like, you know what? In case I were to disappear or vanish without a trace, I have letters ready to be sent to Nina and Anna about your shadiness, alongside the whole situation with Nina's daughter being faked by you. I love her. This is the difference between a villain that you love to hate and a villain that you just hate. You see, when Dr. Obrecht is trying to be evil, she's not hiding behind anything. She is just deliciously evil. When Valentine is being evil, he's being shady and hiding behind his good persona, quote unquote. Make no mistake, I want Dr. Obrecht to stick around, but boy, would I absolutely love Valentine's secret to come out. It's high past time that your loved ones see you for the trash that you are, Valentine. Alright, now let's talk about the shady man from Drew's past, Hank. Now, Hank goes to the hospital to meet up with Drew, and I have questions. First of all, when Hank got out of that elevator, he looks at Drew and says, Drew? What happened to your face? I don't recognize you. Huh? How would you recognize Drew if you don't know what his face looks like in the first place? I mean, you only knew him as like the Jason Morgan face, and you recognized him and called him by his name. I don't know if this was like a blip in the script that somehow everyone overlooked, or just like meant to come across a different way than it did. Either way, it confused me. After my confusion subsided, Hank tells Drew about how he saved his life and that he is forever indebted to him. And Drew's just like, don't worry about it, I don't remember, so like, leave. Hank agrees to leave, but he does say, if you or your son need anything, like, I got you. Apparently, he's already dealing with Drew's son, and I wonder if he knew about that. Let me elaborate. So it turns out that Hank is the leader of the cult house, and he doesn't go by Hank over there, he goes by the name Shiloh. Now, Christina had invited over Jason and Sam to come to the house so that they could meet Shiloh for themselves, and of course, Jason is not impressed to see that it's actually Hank who is Shiloh, and he fills in Sam on the fact that this is the man from Drew's past, and all the alarm bells go off in her head. Now, on top of this, something, I don't know if you guys caught it, but something that Shiloh / Hank said to Sam was, you know, I think that you can appreciate changing your name while you change your life. Okay, so this guy's got some hands in a lot of cookie jars here, okay? So he must be the guy that is blackmailing Sam or coming after her in some way. You know, some people are even speculating that Shiloh / Hank is also the guy that raped Willow. I mean, it's definitely possible, but I don't want too many stories to intertwine like this. I mean, it's a bit overwhelming. I feel like the cult storyline on its own is pretty good. To have too many things going on inside of it would just be too much. So I'm not sure exactly where things are going, but all I know is that this man is super shady, and Christina and Oscar better get out of that house as fast as they can. Oh, speaking of Oscar, in other news, Julian and Kim broke up. Alright, next story. So let's talk about Yvonne and Mike. Now, this is a storyline that pulls on a lot of people's heartstrings, including my own, because here you have Yvonne, who is married to Marcus for, you know, 30 years or whatever it was, and she doesn't remember him at all. 90% of her life is gone, and he just wants to take her home and be with her for as much as he can. And I totally get that. But at the same time, I feel like Marcus needs to let her go because all she knows is the here and now. The only thing that keeps her happy at this point is Mike, because that's who she knows in the present. She doesn't remember the past. And I feel like I'm on Sunny's side with this one, where you need to put her happiness ahead of your own. You need to let it go, man. Now on the flip side, you also have Mike. Now he is not as far gone as Yvonne, but he is certainly heading that way. And yes, Mike does have all of his family to lean on, and he still remembers a lot of them. However, he does need companionship too, because if you guys recall, at the very beginning of this Alzheimer's storyline, Mike actually had a girlfriend that he was with for for quite some time, and she left him the second that she found out that he has Alzheimer's. So I really want Mike to have someone to spend what little life he has left with, you know? Props to Sonny for spending as much time as humanly possible with his father. I mean, he even got Chet, Amy's brother, to work or manage the gym Volaninos. So that was a kind of cool way to bring Chet back into the canvas a little bit. I don't know how long he'll be staying for, but I'm kind of excited to see where it goes. But, like Maxie said, if Sonny hires you to work in the warehouse, run. Alright, now let's go from one sad story to another. Gail Baldwin, Scott Baldwin's mother, had passed away because Susan Brown, the actress that played her in real life, passed away a few months ago, so the show decided to pay tribute to her, which I thought was a lovely gesture. And honestly, it was nice to see Scott and Monica reminisce about Gail, because they were so close to her. And having Lucy involved with that too was really good. I only wish that Serena was there in person, just like she was for Lee's passing. But you can't win them all. Now, the thing that intrigues me the most about this tribute is that it's actually going to lead into some story on the show, and it involves Scott, Lucy, and Monica, and I'm hearing things that it'll also involve the future of the hospital. So I am very curious to find out what's going to happen there. Whatever this story is, I'm sure it'll be far more interesting and less cringeworthy than the whole Lucy writing a book about the tourism in Port Charles, which apparently is a book that you can actually buy in real life. As if the 20 minutes of commercials in our 1 hour time slot isn't enough, we also have to deal with commercials in our show now, which, I mean, it has been going on for quite some time, especially during the nurses' ball, and I guess that involves Lucy too. Stop using Lucy this way. I mean, you got the Ryan Chamberlain storyline right there for her to be a part of. Just let her in. Just let her in. Alright, now let's talk about the Ryan Chamberlain storyline, because it's actually picking up some steam here. Jordan and Curtis are putting their heads together, and they're actually getting somewhere. I know, amazing. So they realize that they are definitely dealing with a serial killer, that he has a calling card, and that is taking the driver's license of his victims, and that this could possibly be tied to the 25th anniversary of Ryan Chamberlain's murders, because the whole town is talking about it. Now, they decide to pull Ryan's original files, and they discover something that the PCPD missed back in the 90s, which is amazing, because, you know, I guess that means they were stupid even back then, and they find out that all of the driver's license of all of the victims from back then are also missing from these victims. And so now they realize that this current serial killer is either competing with Ryan or trying to erase Ryan's former crimes. So I know it's a far cry from realizing that Ryan is out there somewhere, but the fact is the TV producer realized that there is a possibility that he is, so if he can realize that, I'm sure the PCPD can realize that. Especially considering the fact that all of the documentary was supposedly erased from that room, even though when Curtis walked in, the documentary was still actually on the screen, so that's a completely overlooked thing. I mean, you gotta try here, you guys. I feel like the show can't get all three aspects right, like the writing, the editing, and the producing. They can't get it all together. They need to figure it out so that these little messes don't happen, because the storylines would otherwise be good if they didn't overlook these little things that us fans notice, you know? We're paying attention. We're not just like watching for our faves. I know some of us are, but some of us actually pay attention to the storyline. We're interested in the story, not the characters. Or the characters and the story, but we actually care of the integrity and the intelligence of the writing that is being shown to us, you know? I will say though that I feel like the writers are actually genuinely trying to listen to what we're saying here. Like, they're trying to bring the heart back into the show. They are trying to kind of tie things together for us and tell really good stories. They're just lacking in the follow through a little bit, but they are trying, and I want to acknowledge that. You guys are trying. We see it. Keep up the good work. Keep working a little bit harder so that we can get to a really great show. Now let's talk about Ryan for a second, because he goes to the town hall meeting where Laura and Ned are having their debate, and he actually shows his full support for Laura, and she thanks him and says, "I promise you that I will pay attention to the mental facilities and take a lot of tours of Ferncliff." And that did not please him at all. Now, after the town hall meeting is over, Ryan overhears that Laura has to pay Sonny a visit at Volanino's, and he actually follows her. And those scenes, let me tell you, were so damn creepy. It was reminiscent of like the classic serial killer storylines and suspenseful storylines that GH used to tell, so I loved it. I know, I felt the danger for Laura. I know she ain't going anywhere, because the writers aren't going to do us dirty ever again like that, I don't think. But It was so suspenseful, and if you weren't scared for Laura even a little bit, then there's something wrong in your brain, okay? I mean, I don't know what's going to happen next week, but I'm excited to find out, and it's been a long time since I've been excited for next week to happen, you know, as soon as it can. But yeah, I think that's it. So what did you guys think of GH this week? I know it was a short week again, but let me know in the comments below. And also let me know what storylines you would like to see for 2019, because we are at the start of a new year and we do want things to change, and I'm excited to find out what the writers will do. So if you like this video, give it a big old thumbs up, subscribe if you want to, and I will catch you guys next week.